And now, Move the Sticks with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ, Bucky, and look who it is. It's our good friend Rhett who's joined the show.
What's up, friends?
Captain America is back. What's going on?
Let's go. Let's go. We're still riding the high July 4th, baby.
Yeah.
Let's
How long, by the way, today we're going to hit on the Manning camp where Rhett was, and we do this every year. But how long after you got back from Thibodeau before you stopped sweating?
No, we rolled right into the 4th of July picnic, still with a nice glisten. Yeah. Just glistening.
Do you weigh in, weigh out out of that camp?
I
had to make sure you hydrated.
I haven't stepped on a scale in years. But I love that heat. I like, it's like a warm embrace
for activity. I like sweating in that. Like I like working out, playing in that. Buck, there's no way
Standing
like
around.
every day just like walking around. Nobody enjoys that.
Yeah.
It's just such a hard deal. It's hot, it's muggy, the bugs.
Come on, you need that humidity.
But
you need a little bit of that.
I'd
rather that than like that dry Phoenix heat at 110.
Guess what, Rhett? We don't live in Phoenix. We pay the California tax.
Well, that's true.
So we get to Southern California.
Pretty dang hot out here right now.
We get to Southern California weather. I'm not worried about the dry heat. Dude, anything over 80, I'm like, whoa. Didn't sign up for this. I signed up for 78 and sunny.
That's true. True.
For those who don't know, like Gulf heat, by the way, like the Gulf humidity. Like here, I'll give you the two adjustments I had to make as a kid who grew up in San Diego, going to college in Monroe, Louisiana for 2 years or a year and a half. Arkansas. The first one was this. I remember there's three. First of all, it was like, why are we practicing at 7:00 in the morning and 7:00 at night? I don't know, what are we doing? Trust me, you want that.
You knew.
That was the first thing. The second thing was we'd be walking out towards practice, and there was just all these aerosol cans like just lined up, and I just remember thinking like, I guess like sunscreen or something. Like, I put some sunscreen on in my dorm. I'm fine. That. And then I came back in. I'm like, hey, why does it look like I have chicken pox? They're like, yeah, the mosquitoes, you dummy. That's what the freaking spray's for on the way out to practice. So that was my second thing. And then the third thing, Buck, I know you'll this is same. Yeah. I'm sure it's same in Carolinas, but like I remember parking. We were going to like a store, like a clothing store or something with like 4 or 5 of us, and we parked, and we're I don't know, maybe 7,500 feet from the store, and it just started to sprinkle, like just a tiniest sprinkle, and these guys like freaking Carl Lewis, Usain Bolt, like they take off sprinting for the store, and I'm like, guys, it's a little. Oh my gosh, it just went from a little trickle to like I am just drenched.
They knew. Yeah.
I'm like, that was so those are my 3 adjustments.
We had one of those, by the way. We got rained out. One practice got rained out. It was the day 2 afternoon, number 2 practice of the day, which was actually kind of nice. It was kind of nice.
A little break there.
Yeah. But we got all the workouts in for the college quarterbacks that were there, which is great.
All right. Well, this is going to get us to the show today, and I'll start us off. It is time for Hot or Not, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. We've talked about the heat, so we've handled that part of it. Rhett, for those that don't know, just give the 30,000-foot view of what this camp is and how it's grown over the years.
Yep. Started in 1996, Tulane University. I was in 8th grade and went to the camp as a camper, kept going back all the way through my senior year. I was invited to come back, by Archie and the staff when I was playing at Indiana, and have been coming back on staff ever since. This was the 29th year of the camp. I've now been to 27 of the 29, so missed 2 of them. And it was actually, DJ, where we first met in person, was down at the Manning camp when you refused to let your entire team get equal playing time just to win the game.
Did I lose? No, we did not.
So
what are we doing?
It's about.
I'd like to play quarterback. Yeah. So would I.
So would I. But you're over there. Yeah. No, this guy's playing. You're right. Yeah. So you were the reason that Archie was getting all the calls from the parents saying like, my kid didn't play.
Yeah. Paid all this money for this camp. Right. Well, that's what the individual drills are for. Okay?
Right. And so 1,500 campers this time, biggest camp yet. Had I think it was the final number was 48 college quarterbacks on staff, and then about another 100 or so additional staffers, high school coaches from around the country. A bunch of NFL guys ended up showing up. Just sometimes their kids are campers and they kind of hang around a little bit, which is always really fun to see. What the distinguished guest of this camp though was John Gruden, who was just an absolute firecracker of just passion for ball in 95-degree heat and 100% humidity down in Thibodaux. So that was cool. It's 4 days, 2 full days, 2 half days of just nonstop ball, man. And it's a chance for you to pour into the kids, but to also receive a lot of value too, as a staff member, as a high school coach, as a college quarterback. It's really full service.
I got to ask you, Rhett, how
Yeah.
do the participants, the counselors, how much do they revere having the Mannings available? Like how much are they hanging on every word when those guys get in the front of the room, Peyton and Eli?
Well, look, and you guys know this because it ends up being a question to a handful of guys that end up coming through our doors in the draft process, because and you always get just a little bit of a different answer. Like somebody takes a little bit something that, a little something different from each time that they get to interact with Eli and Peyton and with Cooper and with Archie and with everybody that's down there. I think just understanding, like your coaches tell you, and you have a sense of what you need to do, right, to be the best. But to hear it from the best, to hear exactly what their process was, I think it resonates just a little bit differently, right? When you understand what Peyton was doing to prepare, when you understand how Eli, managed to be the face of a franchise in New York for the entirety of his career, and you start to understand all that goes into that, I think it just sinks in a little bit more. And so I would say it is revered. Like there's no 0 to 10 on it. Like it is up there. And they definitely take advantage of those opportunities, which is really neat.
That's a good way of explaining all that. So there's kind of like the 30,000 foot view of the camp. That was this week's Hot or Not segment, brought to you by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Show more and do more with your data. Try them for free at wasabi.com. So this is the good stuff we're looking forward to, Rhett, is you get a chance to be around these college quarterbacks, which is going to be who we're talking about in the spring and in the springs to come with the NFL draft ahead of us. So I guess give us an idea of some of the big time names that were there, and then we'll get into the takeaways.
Sure. So really excited this year to see a bunch of these guys. A couple of them I'm going to see in my work for Big Ten Network. Mark Gronowski from Iowa, I'm sure I'm going to see in the Big Ten. Luke Altmaier from Illinois. Illinois is a top 25 team this year, playoff aspirations. So I was excited to see those two guys, selfishly for those reasons. And then you had the guys that could be the top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks in the country this year. John Mateer from Oklahoma, Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Sam Levitt from Arizona State, Gunnar Stockton from Georgia, and of course the namesake, Arch Manning from Texas. And so
start there, by the way.
All right, let's just do it. Let's start right there, because I think I mentioned this to you guys, or may have been it was on with the Insiders last year, right after the camp, and I was just blown away by how just grounded Arch is, despite all that's happening around him. How it was important to him to stay away from the NIL stuff until he got that job, until he was going to be the starter, which, obviously he is going into this season. And then his joy for the game, like his joy and his passion for being around ball, for being around teammates, for being around his guys. Like, I think Quinn Ewers was there with him last year, and they were like neck and neck, just always couldn't separate them. And just like, guy enjoys the college experience. And so when you hear Eli and Peyton talk about why it was important for him to go to Texas, to stay at Texas, even though he was going to sit for the better part of 2 years, it's because they wanted him to enjoy going to college at Texas. That was actually a goal. That was actually a priority. And you can see that, man. And it's yeah, sure, the weight of the world might be on his shoulders from externally, but when you're around him, it sure doesn't feel like he feels that. So I think he's got a great demeanor for being a quarterback. Then you get to just watching him, and it's it's just different, man. It is, and I know they've done some work. He works with David Morris in quarterback country. You guys, we know very well, and they've done some really good work with him too. Like his motion is so compact and efficient, and it just pops. So like they've worked a lot. Like and this is not unique to Arch, right? So many of these quarterbacks are going to be, quote unquote, closed off, right? That front foot is kind of closed off. And so Arch was leaning at the top of his drop, at the top of his release point quite a bit. So man, they've really worked on opening that front foot up and bringing that rotation through. And man, you can see this ball is just popping. Like it is alive off his hand. Not like it wasn't before, but it's different. I mean, it's different from when I saw him, coming in as a freshman, even the last year. Like this year, it felt like he is dialed. Like his mechanics are dialed in, and every ball is just it's so effortless. Like it just comes out with ease. We've said that about a number of quarterbacks that have been at the top of the class, whenever they end up coming out, and he certainly, guys, fits that bill.
I got to ask, I want to follow up on that, because the big thing, like a lot of times when you go see a quarterback live, it is to get a feel for the velocity and those things. And so you talk about the improvements and how the ball comes out and how lively it is. You've seen some of the top quarterbacks, like even before then, to come out.
Sure.
Like, where does it rank? Do we talk about like plus arm talent? Are we above average? Like, where would you put that arm talent when it just on a natural throwing?
Yeah. I mean, it's special. Like, I'm not going to say he's Andy Luck over here or anything like that, but like it's in that conversation, like of guys that I've seen throw it that make it look that good. You know what I mean? And then like just the body type, like he's just so powerful. Like his lower half is so well built. And he maintains like just some urgency in his drops and his footwork. I mean, this is a big athletic kid. Like and that's what I think, again, people are going to really start to understand if they haven't seen it outside of Austin this year, is that, he is, he is not, I mean, he is more Archie Manning than Peyton and Eli Manning. And even, he's, like his dad, Cooper, was a pretty damn good athlete. Went to Ole Miss as a receiver before he had the spinal cord injury. And so like, he has got his grandpa and his dad's athleticism. And I think that in today's game, he is the prototype of today's quarterback, Deech. Like that for me. Like he is more like, built physically, and then with the arm talent and with the athleticism, like it just check.
That's going to lead me right to the next guy then, because I just finished, and I talked about him previously, Lenoris Sellers, and watching him and how I'm curious to see, because I'm a big fan of his, and I'll do Arch next. I haven't done him yet. Yeah. But just comparing those guys physically, what do they, physically look like, build wise and height wise, all those types of things, as well as just kind of how the ball came out of their hand this week.
Yeah. So Lenoris Sellers, as you can imagine, DJ, just from watching it on tape, but when you see it in person,
it's a strong man.
The power is intoxicating. Yeah. Like it is so fun. Like it is definitely like you want to follow him around. Like you just want to watch it. You want to hear it. Like you want to hear it, like when his fingers come off the ball as that ball starts its rotation, it's like a whip. Like you hear it. And it's, I mean, it is different. I'll put it that way. Like it's to me, the power coming out of his hand is even, a step above what you saw from Arch, but it's a different type of delivery. Like the RPMs are so wound up in that thing. So, and then like I got to spend a little time with him, just to talk to him, to kind of understand a little bit more about who he is. And, he's one of those dudes that, we'll sit there, look you in the eye. We'll ask you, we'll be an active participant in the conversation and not just a yes or no, type of answerer of questions, which a lot of these guys end up being. Like, love talking about the offense now with Mike Shula as the play caller. And Mike's brother, Dave, was at the camp and has been at the camp for a number of years. And so Dave was telling me just about how they love the kid. I mean, he talked for about 10 minutes about who Lenoris Sellers is before we even talked about what he is as a player. So I thought that was pretty special. You've all heard the stories about what he turned down to stay at South Carolina. But that humbleness, like that loyalty, that ability to understand, what it means, for him to be there at South Carolina and to remain there at South Carolina, I think was pretty special in today's world.
By the way, I just wrote him up because I had just finished. I'd watched him a few days ago and had to write him up. But I was curious because I had heard, talking to Dow Loggins, who had been the OC there at South Carolina, and talking about how this kid, he loves him, and he was like talking about how he's smart and he's a good kid and he loves ball and all this stuff, and he's talked about how he was a winner. And so I was like, okay, I wonder if did he win a state championship? So I went back and pulled up his high school stuff. Buck, I know, Rhett, I know guys that numbers are inflated in high school, but his last year, 45 touchdowns, 2 picks, and then rushed for 1,338 yards and 17 touchdowns. Led his team to the 4A state championship.
Yeah.
He was, and I believe he was, it says runner up. He was a finalist for the state's Mr. Football. He didn't win.
Who won?
What the heck did the other guy do? That's what I'd like to know. Good gracious.
That's unbelievable.
But no, the kid Buck, when you get a chance and you get a chance to dig in on him, like there's with bodies on him, it is Ben Roethlisberger, Josh Allen type stuff where he just pulls through guys and gets guys, shrugs guys off of him. Like it's a different level of just strength and power. And then, I wrote down Houdini about 10 times in the 3 games that I watched, where it's like unblock rusher, and he's so casual with it. Like, this is like Lamar does that, where it's an unblocked defender, and it's not like this big eyes panic. Like it's just like, whoop, whoop, and then just kind of, then he moves and he's gone. You don't touch him. Like he's got an unbelievable elusiveness.
He's such a different, player, right? Like we made the conversations last year. I think we compared somebody to like the Steve McNair in terms of rugged play, but DJ, he's more like that type in terms of like the physicality that he brings to the position. But the thing is, he can run, but he doesn't lean on that as his sole superpower.
He takes a clean drop. He can operate.
It is so unique that you have someone who is gifted enough as a runner where he could be a 1,500-yard rusher, but he is really dialed in the pocket, and he uses it when he needs it, not just because he has it. It is a unique skill and tool. And when we talk about people willing to bet on the upside, he may not play like some of the other guys play, but you can see why. If you are about the prototypes and the tools and, hey, I got to compete with the Allens and Mahomes, you can see why people would be fascinated with what he could be if he continues to play at the level that he's played at.
Well, and just to kind of give you another analogy of what I'm kind of talking about with what, people who wanted to go see Lenoris, like, DJ is a aspiring golfer now, like you actually go to a tournament, DJ, you want to follow like people, the throng of people that would follow Tiger Woods, right? Or that would follow, their favorite golfer, Scheffler, whomever it was, when they set up these quarterback workouts down here, 2 of the 3 workouts there's 4 stations. Peyton runs one, Eli runs one, Demo runs one, and then they got another couple of guys that run another one. There were guys like me that would just follow Lenoris through each station just because they wanted to see it, right? See it in different scenarios, and they did a really good job with that. So,
well, what they say about next year's draft? It's a seller's market.
Oh, hey, look, young though, right? I mean, it's no guarantee that we're going to see him again, but see him come out. But I mean, we'll see. All
right. So those, talked about Arch, talked about Sellers. To me, those are the 2 headliners that I was most interested in. So now I want to get into like, who are some of the other guys that jumped out to you?
Well, look, I mean, a couple of guys that we're going to talk about a lot coming up here this spring: Cade Klubnik at Clemson and Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. Actually kind of similar body types, but the thing I kept coming back to was the way that Garrett Nussmeier handles himself, the way that he approaches a workout. And I did get to see his dad. His dad was there for a little bit, Doug. Doug and I go way back to when he was coming into the league with the Saints out of Idaho. And he actually briefly held the Superdome record for the longest touchdown pass in Superdome history. Yeah, to Terry Guess. But that record was quickly broken when Drew Brees came into town. But anyway, so I got to catch up with Doug a little bit, and you can just see son of a coach, right? You see that in the way he talks, the way he acts with the microphone in front of him, which I actually had a chance to run a Q&A with the campers and about 10 of these quarterbacks, and Nuss was one of them. He's got an edge to him. Like he is a fiery competitor. Like so many questions, as you can imagine, in Louisiana that were lodged towards Nussmeier and Klubnik ahead of the week 1 matchup between those two, right? The whole Death Valley conversation, the whole thing, like everybody wanted to know. And look, they had some playful back and forth, but Nuss is a gamer, man. Like he let it be known that like, look, I mean, we respect the heck out of Clemson. Cade's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but like we're here to win this game. And the thing that I was reminded watching Nuss throw the ball, and Klubnik was, like he was totally fine. Like it didn't wow me. It didn't jump out to me, but like totally, kind of handled himself maybe the way in which you would expect, just kind of steady Eddie. But Nuss was different in the way he approached each rep and each workout. Was really kind of fun to watch, just the way the intensity in which he would, make a drop on air. It honestly reminded me of the way that Peyton used to do it in those workouts, in those settings. Like it was the Super Bowl at the end of June. Like everything was so technically and fundamentally sound with him, with the way, like, I just, because there's guys who want to take a shotgun snap. They'll bounce around for a second and then try to show off the arm. That was not Nuss. He was working the game, working the drill, working the rep every time. I thought that was really, really impressive. So those two guys, certainly. Another guy that we don't talk about a ton, but was a college football playoff quarterback last year, was Jennings from SMU. And he was there. And what I'll bring up with Jennings is the urgency, like the urgency in which he gets rid of the ball, in which he gets to his release point from wherever he is under center in the shotgun. I mean, it is cat quick. And so that kind of brought me to some of John Gruden's like greatest hits from the camp. Like when I went up to him and I was like, Coach, what do you get out of a workout like this? In shorts and t-shirts on air, a couple receivers here and there they've never worked with. He's like, it's quickness, man. He's got it's quickness, right? I want to see mental quickness. I want to see you working through the progression, even when you don't have a defense out there, man. I want to see the arm quickness. I want to see the body quickness. Like everything was about quickness and urgency. And Kevin Jennings, man, was outstanding on that front. There are a number of guys that were like that too. But he really stuck out to me. And while I'm on the topic of Gruden, and I'll get back to the quarterbacks here in just a sec, but for you, Coach Buck, I want to, and you'll appreciate this story too, Deej, but.
Let me make that determination. Go ahead.
Fair enough. So Gruden's with Johnny Majors at Tennessee. It's like one of his first gigs in college football, right? He's
Charles Davis is there at that time as well.
Yes, exactly right. And they talked about that. But low-level staffer, because CD's always down at the camp, but low-level staffer. And he's got the privilege of entertaining Frank Broyles, who was coming in to hang out with Coach Majors, right? The Broyles Award, given to the top assistant. So
Arkansas coach.
He comes in, and Broyles wants to watch some tape. And so he and Gruden get to talking about it, and he's got to go do a cut up for Coach Broyles, which is like literally cutting the film, right? And putting it up on the projector and all that. So he does it, and they show a bunch of routes that he's been working on with some of the receivers, and talking to Coach Broyles about the route depth, like we're going to run this deep, this over route here. We're going to get up to 12 yards and we're going to make this break. And Coach Broyles is watching the tape. He's like, hey, Coach Gruden, what was the depth of that route that you were saying on that? He's like, 12, Coach. He's like, well, this guy's running at a 10 here. And he would go through another route. And he's like, oh, this route depth isn't quite right. This is 9. Thought you said 10. And Gruden's like, oh, boy. I'm getting roasted here by Broyles, like thinking like, my stuff doesn't stink here. And sure enough, but what Broyles said to him is, what you see on tape is what you coach. Right. Even if it's not, even if it's not directly something that, even if the guy's doing something that, you might have told him to go at 12, but he's still going at 10, that's on you. Right. And it was something so simple that kind of stuck with me there. But what you see on tape is what you coach, both negatively and positively. So, just a reminder out there about the details.
Well, how many times have you heard that, Buck, though? Hey, we're either teaching it or we're allowing it. That's the same difference.
That's it.
And the hard thing is, are you persistent in terms of, are you on them every day about those details or whatever? It is always funny, though, when you hear coaches talk about those old coaches who are great, the attention to detail.
That's it, man.
And that is why some coaches like to invite other coaches to observe practice, because that eagle eye that an old coach has. And, you know, they kind of are unfiltered. So they will tell you, like Frank Bros told Gruden, hey, man, you said it's 12,
right.
but that's I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You want one bit of comedy?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me pull this up here exactly, because I mentioned Mark Gronowski was there, right?
Yeah.
So first workout was, let's see, it was that Thursday, right? And they're running through a bunch of drills, and then they start running some routes on air. And you know, they're going to do like 5 or 6, 7, 8 different routes. And then they ended with the go route, right? Just a 9-ball, right? We're running and we're airing it out to end it up. And so, you know, there's 40 quarterbacks trying to work out. Time ends up getting constrained. He only gets to throw the go ball once. He's like, no, I only threw it once. My man, Grant Jordan, who will be the starter at UMass this year after an illustrious career at Yale, transferred into UMass. He kind of pipes in from the back. He's like, dude, you're the quarterback at Iowa. You only get one go ball. It was just like
it's a good line.
Realness of it.
That's a good line. Yeah.
But that also goes to show you like the little bit of the kind of friendly competitiveness and personality that goes on with these like alpha dudes that are all in a room together for 4 days, which was pretty cool.
All right, we're down to our last few minutes here, Rhett. Yeah. So I'm going to give you. Do you have 5 guys? Can you give me just a thumbnail on 5 more intriguing guys that were there?
John Mateer. John Mateer is, I mean, really. I mean, like he was the most impressive to me day one. Like first workout, I was like, holy smokes! And then like you watch him and you see. I don't know if you see it on tape as much, DJ, but like you see him in person, that dude is built thickness, lower half. Like he could put the neck roll on and be a fullback if you needed him to. Yeah. And he's kind of got that mentality too, a little bit. So was kind of excited about that and about him. Sam Leavitt, man, I think for a guy who saw his star just explode last year for the Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils, like I was impressed with just, man, he puts it together, understands like the position he's in now, and
how's the ball come out of his hand?
Pretty solid. I mean, pretty tightly wound. He was not like, I would put him in like certainly the top 5, top 6, 7 guys that were throwing it and ripping it around there for sure. So I'd have him up there. Let's see. We've done Jennings. We did Arch, Klubnik. I would say, you know, Gunnar Stockton was just kind of middle of the road for me. You know, I think there's probably it's just like it wasn't as elite at the high end as some of the other guys. Not to say he can't get the job done for Georgia with an extremely talented group around him. Like I think they're going to be just fine. Ty Simpson was a fun one to watch, and like just a real, you know, for a guy who's going to be a quarterback at Alabama, very unassuming. Like just kind of little.
Well, he needs to be careful because it sounds like the freshman kid they got coming in there from Duncanville is like one of the most exciting, loved up players in the country. Yeah. So Ty's got to hit the ground running. We don't want to ease into this.
No kidding. And then the last one I'll give you is a guy I was extremely impressed with, kind of in the workouts and then just in the way he carried himself. Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, redshirt sophomore who is kind of been at Ole Miss, right? And I know, you know, Coach Kiffin has said that like he's got some stuff that Jackson Dart didn't, right, in his tool bag, which is extreme. He was baseball and football. Dude had like 20 strikeouts for the Rebs the previous baseball season, and you know is going to be playing his first real football, you know, this year. He graduated. He has already graduated. He's 19 years old. He's already graduated at Ole Miss. He is now working on his next degree. Just really smart, like was really competitive with the kids, was really good coaching the kids. You know, like I've talked to you guys about this a number of times, DJ, like when we're going through routes on air, which is a part of the drill period, and we go in with the quarterback. So my group of receivers joins a group of quarterbacks. And I always want to just ask, hey man, what's your favorite 2-man combo over here that we can get the receivers to run? Some of them are like, huh? What? We don't do that. We don't do that in our offense. I'm like, well, can you just Can you just do one here? Because this is what we got. We got 6 receivers. Okay, let's try and get him some reps. And this dude was out here. I mean, like coaching up routes, route technique. Coach Broyles would have been proud, man. He was coaching up the details of every route. So I think he's got a great command of what Lane wants him to do. He has got some excellent tools, really mobile, and just like a really kind of whippy arm. I'm excited to see what he's got for him.
I just love all these things. Personality wise, whose personality stood out to you? You've been around the quarterback position.
Yeah.
You know, like who's the dude's dude when it comes to all those guys been around each other?
Yeah, it was it was kind of interesting to kind of watch that unfold. Like we've talked about it in the past, like guys that kind of have that magnetism to them. And Nussmeier is really that guy. And you can see why Brian Kelly loves him, why his teammates love him at LSU. And I'm sure that they've got guys that are probably, maybe more talented, from like just an overall standpoint, probably could have gone out and got guys that are more talented. But I don't think you'll find a guy who connects more, who is more ready for the moment, who is more technically and fundamentally ready to be the guy at LSU again this year than Nussmeier. And like, you could just kind of see it, like guys were just around him all the time, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right. To close it up, I selfishly have to ask you about one final guy, Sawyer Robertson from Baylor.
Yeah. Sawyer was great. Sawyer was great. It's kind of a small world here. His backup quarterback, Nate Bennett, is our pastor at our church out here.
Oh my gosh.
Bennett. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nuts. Yeah. It's like totally small world deal. So I went up to him. We started talking. You want to talk about impressive young men. Like that was probably the most impressive conversation that I had. Like that guy, man, just has a great sense of gratitude for where he is, the opportunity he has. And like, I thought he threw the ball actually, pretty well.
He had a great year.
Yeah.
Great year last year.
But my favorite moment was, I was like, hey, just kind of curious if you had any idea about a, younger guy that was in the recruiting office, was in the football office a little bit. Ryland Jeremiah. And I was like, what? Yeah. He's like, yeah, I know Ryland. Ryland was the first guy ever caught a pass for me at Baylor. And I was like, what? And so he told me this whole story about how DJ
he was just at a park. Yeah.
They were there at a park, and Ryland went up and caught balls from him. And so they've been kind of tight, and they'd see each other in the office. But here's the thing, like, you know how the interview question, right? Whereas, they bring you into the office and like, hey, do you remember the receptionist's name? You remember the guy who greeted you his name? Like a guy like understands the importance of every person in the organization. It was clear to me. And like he went on and on about Ryland and about, he loves Baylor. I think Baylor's in great hands this year with Sawyer.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, Buck, he was there. I think he was just there with a couple buddies, like just throwing the football around. And Ryland is in recruiting and then knew who he was and kind of what he looked like. He's like, I think that's our new quarterback. He's transferred in from Mississippi State. Go over to say hello to him. And he's like, hey, you need somebody to catch some balls? So yeah, went out there and ran routes, caught balls from him there at the park as he just got into Waco. But yeah, he had a good year. They've got a really good running back. They should be interesting. Did you see, by the way, Buck? Did you see Prime on Big 12 Media Days?
I did. Prime was decked out. Had his new little Nike shoes on and all that.
Michael
Irvin, playmaker got a shout out because there was a lot of concern about Prime's health because he kind of been in the dark. So it was he didn't address it, but it was great to see him. I just think Prime is Prime, and he's going to say whatever he feels. And so the salary cap thing is what came out of that. How he feels like, hey, just look at the teams that are playing in a deal. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's no different than anything that we've seen. Like, yeah, you got to pay to play. And we're all much better coaches when you got better players. So you got to find a way to get better players. And right now, we talk about the haves and the have-nots. I mean, it's a big part of college football, and you got to figure out a way to get in the game if you want to compete at the high level.
Ask him about Joey McGuire. Did you see that one?
Shout out, Joe. I love you, Joey. Where you at, Joey? I love you, Joey.
Joey, let us get some of that money. He got any leftover money there at Texas Tech?
Send some my way.
That's funny. Not a lot of oil money in Colorado. Not that I know of, at least.
No, but you know who got money? Deion got money because they broke him off with their new contract.
Oh, yeah,
he'll be okay.
That's fair.
He will be okay.
All right, boys. This has been fun, Rhett. The tradition lives.
Yes,
we
buddy.
appreciate you coming on and doing the Manning recap. And I'll let you get back to I mean, I'm gonna guess today. Rhett probably. What do you think, Buck? I think he's probably grilling some salmon burgers.
That sounds great.
What else
actually,
do you think he's got going on?
I got an early dinner today. Boys got basketball practice back to back, so we gotta
summer hoops.
We gotta get it going. Yeah.
Oh,
we go
outdoors
early.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The white men can't jump action out there, huh?
What are you doing?
Nice.
You probably have JJ Redick out there coaching your team based on where you're at. Like, JJ probably showing them how to once be efficient. No more than 3 dribbles. 3 dribbles too many. Get your ball up
on that front.
Oh man, you're bringing back nightmares, man. I remember the one.
Remember court shoots.
Remember one-on-one one dribble. Remember that? You get.
I've only played it 3 dribbles.
Oh, we did one dribble. It was all just jab steps. It was jab steps, shot fakes, and you got one dribble and you get a pull. And so it was. Yeah.
You can't even use an unorthodox hezzy or anything.
No, but you can get the one dribble and a step back. You can get a lot of. You can get something.
Look, my only advice to the boys: boardman gets paid. We're going after the boards. We are living on the boards. Okay.
I'll leave you with this. I went through a horrible shooting slump. I don't remember what it was. Sometime in high school. I don't know what year I was in. But my dad, I was a point guard, and my dad was like, "Hey, you just got to stop thinking about shooting. All right, get that out of your head. I'm going to pay you $10 for every rebound you get in this game." I swear to you guys. Well, getting back on defense was not an option. I was crashing. They had a lot. They had a lot of cherry picked layups on the other end, but I was getting my boards. I think I got $80, man. I had 8 boards as a point guard in that game. It's nice.
Okay,
back in '93. That's good money.
Over there trying to get a triple-double fat leader. Going in the paint.
How many points did I score? Don't know. Don't care. Don't care. It was $80.
I certainly hope you weren't doing like Ricky Davis, throwing the ball off the backboard and
grab it
and just getting your own board.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, that counts. That's a board. That counts.
Yeah, that's it. All right, this has been fun. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Stick.